Mutual funds are one of the most popular investment choices in the market right now. If you are a beginner or if you're a seasoned investor, most people find safety when they are investing in mutual funds. Even seasoned investors or traders stick to mutual funds. And why do they do that? I think there's a general understanding and notion that somebody else managing your money has more experience, and obviously in case of mutual funds manager do have much more experience than a lot of individual traders, and that idea has probably made mutual funds very popular. Along with that, I think mutual funds are also a great investment choices if you're looking for regulated space, consistent returns, less risk, etc., etc., and you don't have the time to manage your money. So in this and some subsequent video series, I'm going to do a little different than what I usually do. I'm going to talk about more of personal finance space. So this video is basics of mutual fund. Deep dive in. There's no code. There's no technical jargon here. This is all basic fundamentals of mutual funds. So what is a mutual fund? And I'm taking a simple article which the team has come up, and we'll try to go through that. So what is a mutual fund? It is essentially a fund where money is collected from multiple investors, the likes of you and me, and it is pooled into something that can be called as a fund. And then the fund manager is responsible for buying and securities with the fund. They may decide the composition, they will decide which stocks to buy, what ratios to stick around, when to sell, when to rebalance, etc. And we'll look and understand all of that. So essentially, if you are an investor, starts here. You pool money with a fund house, and a fund house could be HDFC fund house, State Bank fund house, Parag Parikh fund house. They appoint a fund manager, very senior and seasoned people in finance and money management, and they invest in securities like stock, bonds, gold, international assets, government assets, you name it, they would invest it, and then they generate return and then they pass it back. Question is, then they have some sort of ways of making money where they have commission charges, fees, expense ratios, etc. So how do they make money is not that important for this discussion, but then the most important question is, should you invest or who should you invest in mutual fund and why? So if you are a beginner in investing, absolutely. I'm not going to read the text, but I'll probably give you a background. So if you're a beginner in investing, they are very, very easy way. They don't have a barrier to entry. You don't need to have a lot of demat account or this setup, money movement setup, analysis, all of that. You need basic fundamental financial knowledge, and the fund manager takes care of the rest. So if you're a beginner in investing, great. If you have further less time for investment research, go this route, because some people are very busy in their lives into what they do, and they just do not have the time to be able to take care of the money they are. However, I don't believe in this approach. I think that if you're working for money, you should always find time to learn a little bit of finance and personal finance that can help you make money a little more, like get more money. Then, so that's point number two. Then if you are somebody who's seeking diversification, you have probably invested in gold, you have probably invested in other markets. And when I say other markets, international markets, you have probably invested in real estate, individual stocks. Yeah, you're a diverse investor. So you're basically looking to diversify, and you can probably do some sort of a mutual fund. These kind of people and categories probably would go more focused into mutual fund, like thematic mutual funds, matlab ki specific kind of a fund, gold-based funds, or some specific category of the fund which aligns their whole idea of it. For example, one very popular fund approaches these days is quant-based strategies, right? And there are a couple of companies offering that. So if your investment thesis meets with that idea, you'll probably do that. And then there are people who are looking for professional management, obviously following the idea that if you want to have somebody else manage the money, rely on somebody else's decision. And this is again ideal if you're a beginner or if you don't have the time. Risk averse investors, good point further, like if you are, if you do not want to take a lot of risk, there is general notion that more risk gives more returns, but that's not true. In any case, for that matter, more risk is literally more risk. There is, yes, it can give you some sort of an better yield or a probability of more return, but it doesn't guarantee return. There are no guarantees. So some people are more looking to safeguard their investments, and let's say you have already retired, you're into your, post 40, post 45, 50, you're looking at even as early as 35, you're looking at wealth preservation than growth or conservation. And that idea essentially leads a lot of people to mutual fund. So there are some funds which are, debt funds, balanced funds, or lower risk investment options which invest in like government bond, guild funds, markets, etc. So you're risk averse. And then finally, if you're looking for tax saving purposes, so tax saving is another great area where people get into if they want to do mutual fund. ELSS is something that used to come under ATC. Again, I'm not sure what's going to happen to this given the changes in the tax regime. What else? So what are the different types of mutual funds? There are multiple categories. Broadly, we need to understand one is equity fund, where the primary investment is equity, which is markets, stock markets. Something like SBI, Blue Chip. Again, none of these are investment advices. Please do not buy, sell anything without doing your assessment. How to do some of those assessments, we'll talk about in future videos to come. All right. So typically, these kind of funds would invest in blue chip companies, large companies, etc., and suitable for long-term investments. Then there are debt funds, like investments where bonds, treasury, debentures, government security, etc. is done. And then here the idea is that you are getting the risk reduction, right? So usually people will balance out with debt and equity. So you could do 85-15, you could do 65-45, you could do 95-10, depending on it. That is usually lower in earlier part of your financial journey, and then as people progress, they increase the percentage of debt allocation. Again, something that I personally do, not doesn't imply that anybody has to follow. Then there are hybrid funds, दोनों ही कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारे funds hybrid है. Example ICICI Prudential. Index fund, which is basically they follow the performance of a specific index, which is like Nifty 50. So this is great for people who believe that markets will make money. Essentially, they replicate the Nifty 50 index, offering returns very, very similar to the index. So anybody who's interested in not paying more expense ratios, because these can be even up to 1 to 2%. Now people will ask, यार 2% में बहुत कुछ होता है. Like if you calculate the difference over a 15-year or a 25 period for 2%, you'll see the differences. Just open any SIP calculator, put the money and just put that 2% delta and you'll be able to see that. 2% is huge, even 1% is huge difference. So index funds typically have the least or the lowest of the category in terms of expense ratios. What is expense ratio? All that we'll all talk about that. Yeah, so index funds are great, low or as much risk as the market has, which is the index has. And this is great for people looking for market average returns. So market mein normally bola 0% return, no such. Again, historically this has been true. Doesn't imply for the future. If you actually apply 12% CAGR on Nifty and do the multiplication for the next, 20 years, it will be a humongous number. Don't think that's realistic actually. Personal opinion again. Sector funds are very, very similar. Like this is, as I was talking, thematic funds. So you can invest in a technology, agri, healthcare, energy, and alag funds. These are high risk depending on the performance of a particular sector. Let's say you want to apply in a technology companies in India, so you'll take this. Again, this is equity, but more focused equity. So if you believe in this approach, then this is for you. If you don't, then it is not. Some people are like, chalo, this 5 years government has made a lot of investments into the companies which are doing agri. So we'll also follow agri mutual fund. So that's also a path to take. Again, no recommendations. ELSS क्या होता है? Equity linked saving scheme. There is a lock-in period of 3 years, the first important point, and the lock-in is for each investment. काफी लोग SIP करते हैं, and इसमें थोड़ा सा terminology है. So SIP क्या होता है? सिस्टमैटिक इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान. दूसरा होता है लमसम, मतलब एक बार में डाल दिया 3 साल के लिए लॉक्ड है. SIP मान लो 1,20,000 डाल, जनवरी में डाल दिया 3 साल के लिए लॉक. लेकिन अगर 10-10 हजार डाल रहा हूँ तो जनवरी वाला 3 साल के लिए लॉक, लेकिन जो लास्ट वाला वो भी 3 साल के लिए लॉक्ड. सो स्टार्ट +1. So 3+1 is actually where you can cash your ELSS. This is a small thing to remember. Beyond it, ELSS जितना आप invest करते हो उतना में reduction में less than 1.5. Again, to be very honest, this is great for a certain income category where your ETC is not getting fulfilled. Usually, if gratuity, home loan, child's education, all of this contribute towards ELSS to its best. A lot of people stay away from it. Some core terminologies जिसके बारे में काफ़ी content है, अभी बात करते हैं. So key terminologies क्या होता है मार्केट में, हमने देख लिया. बेसिक्स क्या होते हैं, क्या म्यूचुअल फंड होता है. टर्मिनोलॉजीज क्या होता है? NAV, which is नेट एसेट वैल्यू. बेसिकली नेट एसेट वैल्यू क्या है कि सिंस ये सारा पूल्ड मनी है, राइट, तो उसको एक एसेट डिक्लेयर का वैल्यू डिफाइन कर दिया. तो इट इज पर शेयर वैल्यू ऑफ द म्यूचुअल फंड which is calculated at the end of each trading day. Essentially, assets minus liabilities divided by total number of outstanding shares is the NAV. Usually this is thought as the price of the mutual fund. Purchasing shares, usually when you buy a mutual fund, right, investors buy or sell mutual fund at the NAV price. तो इंडेक्स निफ्टी को ट्रैक कर रहा है तो उसका एनएवी डिपेंडिंग ऑन द कॉम्पोजिशन द एनएवी वेरीज एंड ऑल्सो द डिमांड इट वेरीज, प्राइस ऑल्सो वेरीज फॉर दैट. So mutual funds are transacted once a day. You remember, yeah, they are not like traded every millisecond. Then another important parameter, expense ratio. Basically, आता है mutual fund वाले. So the annual fees charged by the mutual fund company to manage the fund. This includes management fees, administrative fees, operating expenses. Everything is just cost. तो जो म्यूचुअल फंड होता है, एग्जिट लोड को बेचते हो तो कुछ परसेंटेज लगता है. शॉर्ट टर्म का अलग होता है, लॉन्ग टर्म का आफ्टर 1 year देयर इज नो एग्जिट लोड एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. एग्जिट लोड इज व्हेन यू सेल यू आर अप्लाइड एन एग्जिट लोड. AUM क्या होता है? अ वे टू जज इफ अ म्यूचुअल फंड इज बिग और नॉट. AUM का मतलब एसेट अंडर मैनेजमेंट. जरूरी नहीं कर रहे हो तो कितना बड़ा, तो मतलब मेरे 50 का. दिस इज बेसिकली व्हाट इट इज. तो जहाँ ज्यादा वहाँ लोग ज्यादा ट्रस्ट करते हैं. द चांसेस ऑफ इट टैंकिंग आर लोअर, राइट? मतलब थिंक अबाउट इट. इफ आई ओपन अ म्यूचुअल फंड हाउस टुमारो, not going to happen, and I say I have 50 crores asset under management and SBI has 500 or 5,000 or whatever lakh crores, whom would you put money on? And that's that. SIP I think मैंने already बताया कि systematic investment plan होता है कि आप एक एक करके. Benefits पे stop करते हैं. Risk will cover in the next video. Benefits, diversification, the same things that we talked before. Diversification, professionally पैसा मैनेज है. Liquidity हो जाती है. काफ़ी easy होता है म्यूचुअल फंड को बेचना और खरीदना. Like you can buy and sell at the end of each trading day. कुछ दिनों का साइकिल, like when you buy it you are allocated it in within 2-3 days or like afternoon, some cut off window is there, and then when you sell it's the same. So like within a week, 10 days you can liquidate all the money. Tax benefits are there obviously. ELSS का tax impact जो benefit होता है. बाकी तो dividend and capital gain तो is a different video, so I've talked about it. Alright, so that's it for this video guys. If you have liked this conversation, please hit a thumbs up. Will encourage me to more videos like this. These are more basic and beginner friendly content. Got some people who were trying to understand some of these, so thought of making a video. All right, until next time, thank you for subscribing thank you for subscribing Quant Lab. Cafe IO मेरा दूसरा चैनल है, गलती से बोल दिया, आदत हो गया. Thanks guys, bye bye.